Act name, Piggy.
Howdy, 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 howdy. It's Friday afternoon. Y'all see this Saturday morning? It's a good Saturday morning, I tell you. Well, folks, we got the Democratic Party wanting to put AOC as their party leader. Oh, what could possibly go wrong? She's a straight up Marxist socialist. Socialist Marxist. Translation, straight up commie. What could possibly go wrong? You know, they tell y'all what they want in their actions. Y'all don't want to believe it. But, well, some don't. Some do because they can tell. They want to strip you of all your rights. Lady who hit Trump in the face with that mic, she worked for NPR. She's also a leftist activist. She somehow became a reporter and was on the team that gets to go on the plane with the president. What could possibly go wrong? Into that mic could have had something sharp hiding in it. Biologicals, deadly drugs, anything. Where was the Secret Service at? She's a leftist activist because she's been involved with the Triple K, and y'all know what I mean. I think they mentioned something about white supremacist groups. Hey, I thought that was supposed to be a hardcore right-wing thing. No, folks, the Democrat Party was the ones that instituted the Triple K and Jim Crow and all that. I just saw a deer run across the road back in.
Fine.
So, yeah, that is a leftist Democrat thing. Hate groups. I hate any kind of hate group. I don't like them. It just don't do it for me. My daddy was involved in that when I was a kid, tried to get me to go to one of their summer camps. I told him, I said, I ain't that type of person. I don't care if you're black, white, green polka dotted yellow.
Or even a purple people eater.
Or even a purple people eater. You know, as far as the usual paint jobs on all of us, we all bleed red. So anyway, that happened. A lot of other good things happening too. Education is going to finally go back to the states to run. They're going to make sure disabled kids, because they're putting RFK over some of that stuff, eat good and have good programs to help them too. That's fact. Judges popping off to try to stop Trump. Well, we got judges now who think they can usurp presidential powers. They're totally out of their jurisdiction and realm of authority. Because that Logan Act is strictly a Article 2 presidential powers authority. Well, it doesn't apply. They're just undocumented. No, they're not. They are gang members and terrorists who have illegally come across our border and have been wreaking havoc ever since. And they are tied to other governments that are against the U.S. to begin with. That is called a foreign enemy infiltrating our nation. And, yeah, that makes it possible to enact the Logan Act. A federal judge has no authority over that. Confirmed by the Supreme Court with an unanimous 9-0, no judges needed on that. In spite of the fact that Chief Justice Roberts is trying to take up for that federal judge, trying to keep him from being impeached. But what that judge has done is basically trying to aid and abet foreign enemies. That's called treason. That Boston mayor threatening the Trump administration if they come in there for the illegals. They're trying to separate themselves from the United States. They are a city within a state within the United States. That's treason. She gotta go. You can disagree or not like it or whatever, but facts are facts and you can't change them. You don't have to believe the truth, but the truth is the truth, any way you slice it. Oh, those JFK files. You know that within those files, as part of it is showing it, JFK called Senator Biden a traitor even then. Huh? Yep. Knew it. Called it. Folks, time tells all things. Whether you agree or disagree, it doesn't matter. I don't care one way or the other. The truth is the truth. And usually, whether it be within a few days, few weeks, few months, or decades, if I call it, I get proved to be right. And it's not because I'm some psychic or prophet or anything like that. I'm not. God shows me stuff. He allows me to see the truth. He allows me to see how everything stems out. Like I said, when the old bum thing was going on, I was in with it, in that fight. And there were liberals that would hit me all the time trying to naysay my comments. And like I said, there was doctors, lawyers, preachers. There was even some professors from allegedly high uppity yuckity muck universities. And I shut them all down. So you ain't gotta have highfalutin degrees to have an intelligent brain that sees common sense. I've been talking about common sense since way before Trump said it. It's just common sense. Oh, you got AOC out there trying to say now that her views are just common sense. Thinking that, you know, minimum wage should be at a level for the minimum way of life. You know, no, minimum wage was for junior and senior and college students, junior and senior in high school and college students, to be able to make a little extra money to get things they wanted or to help them pay for their college so they could go on to better jobs in mills, factories, other various things when they got out of college. It was never meant to be a career. It was a supplement, part-time work for kids and college students. And it was basic labor. Basic labor means you ain't got no skills. You think you deserve $15, $20, $25 an hour for flipping fries and burgers? No. It is a basic skill. I worked for my neighbor as an odd job before I became disabled. And when we talked about me working for him, helping him on that house he was building, which was just part-time, I might get 10 hours a week, I might get 20. And he told me, he said, "No, I'm just going to pay you about $8 an hour." You know, and he kind of had a sheepish look on his face, and I told him, I said, "Well, Mr. Tommy," I said, "I ain't nothing but basic labor. I don't expect you to pay me like I'm an electrician. Basic labor means you using your back, you toting and hauling and gophering and all like that. And that don't take no skill. Go get this, go get that. Fetch, boy, fetch. That's basic labor. And in construction, basic labor, you get about $8 an hour, which is better than minimum wage, but it's still not great. But as you learn, you go up in skill, you start getting paid better because you're learning more skills and can do more than just be a back to gopher. So that's what minimum wage was about. That's what basic pay is about. Start at the bottom, you work your way up. You want better, learn some skill while you're there. And that way you get paid better because you learn some skills. You know, a fast food restaurant, you go from doing the fries, flipping the burgers, that don't pay anymore because it's still a very basic, no intelligence needed job. You know, so that is common sense. Saying the minimum wage should reflect the minimum style of living is ludicrous. But like gasoline, you raise the price on that, you raise the price on everything else. Company can't make no money that way. And you totally pervert what a part-time job at minimum wage was for. Well, one of the reasons why a lot of people went to doing that was because when NAFTA took effect, a lot of businesses left the country because they couldn't make no money because they were being taxed and regulated to death. That's why they left the country and went to other places, leaving people with few options as to what to do for work. I mean, you ain't got no talent, you ain't got no creativity like myself. You know, what do you look for? You're going to be looking for something that's basic, entry-level work. There's a lot of businesses in there that's administrative. If you ain't got some kind of basic college to be able to get into that, you ain't going to be able to get that. And when a lot of businesses left, you know, options are few. That's how we wound up in this mess. Now Trump is making things fair by putting tariffs on other countries, bringing stuff in to drive companies back to the United States, and a lot of them are already hitting the door, coming in because of tariffs. That's how tariffs work. They don't want to pay the high tariffs to bring their product in and be a part of this economy. They bring their operations back over here. That's when you got free trade. What we've had before is not free trade. Everybody's been ripping us out. So that's how that works. If you can't understand that basic concept, you need to go take a course in economics from somebody like Thomas Sowell or Charlie Kirk. Well, he ain't college educated. No, but he got a heck of a brain in it. Yeah. He shut down professors, college students who thought they were something because they were in college, and Charlie Kirk ain't never had college. He shut them all down because he's got a very intelligent brain and he knows how to use it.
Yeah, just because you got a college education don't mean you smart.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people go to driving schools to learn how to drive. They still can't drive. I run circles around them. Yeah, I've beat people in their cars who thought they had something. On the freeway one day in my little 88 Festiva. Little bitty four-bagger. Like a 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, or whatever. Little 4-speed. On the freeway one day, There's a guy going slow. I went to go get around him. And he tried to block me. I got around him. Jaw drop as I went past him. He couldn't believe I was torquing his doors off in that little bitty Festiva. And folks, he had a car that had a V8 in it. Had a little 76 Ford Pinto. And it had a bigger engine than what it's supposed to come stock with. You know, it's 1600cc, one barrel automatic, limited slip rear end is what it's supposed to come with. I had a 2300cc 2-barrel 4-on-the-floor Positrack. That still shouldn't have been any match for 5 Porsches. Had some on a freeway one day, this is back when I was young. They tried to block me. I took that thing from 4th to 2nd gear, hit that gas, took off like a rocket. And you could tell they was shifting their gears, trying to do something about it. I torqued their doors. That was a case of just a better driver knowing what he had and how to use it. Because by all rights, those Porsches should have made me look silly. No, I got around them and past them. Them shifting them gears trying to do something about it. They didn't know what they had. You know, so don't have to be a race car driver to know what you're doing with your vehicle. That's not to say I could take on an actual race car driver, because they'd make me look pathetic. Just hands down. But maybe y'all can kind of get what I'm saying. You work with what you got. When the T-Man gets things better, it's going to take a while. For that deep state thing, man, I'm going to tell you what, it's talk about a web having been woven. It's bad, folks. So, it's going to take a little while. Trump knew it was going to take a little while because he got shown some of that stuff in his first term. That's why he didn't release some of that stuff. But the 4 years in between, until now, he's had that 4 years to formulate his strategy on how to take it down and get things back straight. So it's a good thing. But ultimately, in the end, folks, whether we get good or we get bad, that decision was already made when God created everything, because the Bible plainly states he raises kings up and he takes kings out. In other words, whoever's going to be in power making the decisions, God has already decided and already made it so. I knew Biden was going to get it that last round because America hadn't learned its lesson yet, thinking they still wanted some of that progressive stuff. Well, this last election proved that the overwhelming majority of America decided they'd had enough. There's a lot of Democrats out there, they switching up and saying no more to Democrat, because they're now seeing it for what it is. They ain't about you. They just want to keep stealing money. When they talking about, oh, it's going to hurt this group of people and hurt that group of people, you know, what Trump's doing. No, it ain't. Who it's hurting is all those people who ain't never held a real job or run a business, who've been stealing money off of us left and right, supporting war, supporting terrorists, and getting money off of that through our tax dollar. That's who it's going to hurt. It's not going to hurt people on Social Security. It's not going to hurt Medicaid. It's going to be hurting those parts that has just been a grift, theft. That's the only parts it's going to hurt. but they're trying to say it's this and that. Oh, and folks, that also goes to show Democrats, that per usual, are copying the Republicans. Well, it worked for the Republicans. We'll try that. You know, like with AOC calling it common sense. You know, she thinks that's going to make a difference. No, it ain't. You can't tell me that 2 plus 3 equals, or 2 plus 2 equals 5 when it don't. And people are seeing through it. Y'all think about it, Piggy loves you.